On January 26, 2008, the peaceful community of Lusignan, Guyana was shattered by an act of unspeakable violence. A group of armed men descended upon the village, unleashing a wave of terror that would forever scar the nation's history. 11 innocent people, including 5 children, were brutally murdered in their sleep. The Lusignan Massacre, as it came to be known, sent shockwaves throughout Guyana and beyond, exposing the deep-seated social and political divisions that plagued the nation. This horrific event serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the devastating consequences of unchecked violence. It is a story of loss, grief, and the enduring strength of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable tragedy. In the years leading up to the Lusignan Massacre, Guyana witnessed the rise of criminal gangs, often with links to the drug trade. These gangs, operating with impunity in poor and marginalized communities, terrorized residents and fueled a culture of violence. The government's response was widely seen as inadequate, further emboldening the gangs. One such gang, known as the Fine Man Gang, was believed to be responsible for a series of violent crimes, including murders and kidnappings. Led by Rondell Fine Man Rollins, the gang operated mainly in Buxton, a village not far from Lusignan. They were known for their brutality and their ability to evade capture. The rise of criminal gangs like the Fine Man Gang created a climate of fear and insecurity in Guyana. The kidnapping of Rondell Fineman Rollins' pregnant girlfriend, Tanisha Morgan, escalated tensions. Rollins' desperate attempt to force the authorities to release her led to the tragic events of the Lusignan Massacre. This act of violence was a desperate attempt by Rollins to force the authorities to release her. The tension and fear that ensued led to the horrific events that unfolded in Lusignan. Tensions between the Fine Man Gang and the Guyanese authorities escalated significantly. The gang targeted civilians and security forces, leading to a heavy-handed crackdown. On December 18, 2007, the gang attacked a police outpost in Bartica, killing 3 policemen. This assault prompted a massive manhunt and sent shockwaves through the country. The escalation of violence created a volatile atmosphere in Guyana. The Lusignan Massacre claimed 11 innocent lives, leaving a void in their families and community. Their names, forever etched in Guyana's history, remind us of the human cost of violence. Clarence Thomas, Vanessa Thomas, Ron Thomas, Mohandan Gordat, Sigopal Harilal, Sigobin Harilal, Dhanraji Ram Singh, Shalem Baksh, Rewati Ram Singh, Ruplal Seecharan, Howard Stevenson. These individuals, each with dreams and loved ones, were brutally murdered. Their deaths shook Guyana, prompting outrage and soul-searching. This tragedy transcends words, reminding us of life's fragility and the consequences of hatred. News of the Lusignan Massacre spread like wildfire throughout Guyana and the international community. The sheer brutality of the attack, particularly the killing of young children, sent shockwaves through the nation. People were outraged, demanding justice for the victims and their families. Thousands took to the streets in protest, expressing their anger and frustration at the government's perceived inability to protect its citizens. The protests, while largely peaceful, reflected the deep sense of insecurity and fear that had gripped the nation. The massacre exposed the deep-seated racial tensions and political divisions that continued to plague Guyanese society. The Lusignan Massacre was a watershed moment in Guyana's history. It forced the nation to confront the uncomfortable truths about its past and the urgent need for healing and reconciliation. The Lusignan Massacre left an indelible scar on the Guyanese psyche. The trauma of that day continues to haunt survivors and the nation. It shattered the sense of security, leaving people in fear. Reports of retaliatory attacks escalated the violence. The government declared a state of emergency. However, the damage had been done. The massacre deepened racial and political divides. It highlighted the need for social justice and reform. In the years since the massacre, there have been efforts to promote healing and reconciliation. However, the process has been slow and challenging. Civil society organizations have played a vital role in providing support to survivors and families of the victims. The government has also taken some steps to address the root causes of crime and violence, such as poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Healing the wounds of the Lusignan massacre is a long-term process that requires a sustained commitment from all segments of Guyanese society. It is a process that must be built on truth, justice, and a shared vision for a more peaceful